Hello and welcome everyone to the ISCA, and we are happy to be here on this lovely Thursday night for Talladega. Going to be a great race here. Cannot wait to see what everything has in store for us here. I mean, as always, Talladega has been one of the fastest racetracks on the Cup Series schedule, and these guys are definitely going to be probably doing some bump drafting. Of course, don't push the pusher. My name is Brian Britt. Of course, as always, I have Big Al up here in the booth. How you doing, Big Al?
Hey, doing pretty good, Brian. How are you doing this evening, man?
Doing fine. Just ready for some racing here at Talladega. That's for sure. I mean, this is going to
Yeah,
be a long race, but definitely going to be some high octane action. Wouldn't you say?
yeah, definitely think it's going to be an awesome race here, man. Can't wait to see what these guys got in store for us here as we are actually in the thick of the playoffs. Why don't you tell us about that a little bit?
Sure thing. As we saw in that little bit of a promo when we started the broadcast, Clayton Hoffman right now at the top of the playoff grid right now with 3 wins. Jeffrey Souza with 1 win sitting in second place. Mark Pageant in third place. He is the first guy without a win, but he has been very, very talented, or very good at having consistency. Has been really putting it on Clayton Hoffman there, battling right there with him. He seems like he's one of the only guys that can really keep up there with Clayton. Of course, Matt DeCiani sitting in fourth place has not had the best last couple weeks. Hopefully, he's probably going to be trying to turn that around here this evening. Al Kozlowski, he's sitting in fifth. You know how aggressive of a plate racer he is. It's going to be probably some crazy racing for him. Could be a good shot. I know he's going to be going after it with pretty much everything in his arsenal. Josh Schaffner, 6th place. Wayne Grossi sitting in 7th. 8th place, Andrew Griesbaum. 9th place, Kenny Powell. 10th place, Randy Drumhiller. Going a little bit further down, Mark Sanchez, 11th place. 12th place, Chris Johnson. Haven't seen that Chris Johnson here in a little bit. Hopefully he's able to make the grid here tonight. Both the Johnson brothers, Greg Wachinski sitting in 13th place, Andrew Layton 14th, Paul Olson 15th, and Robert Pattengale in 16th. Haven't seen a whole lot of Robert Pattengale here as of late, though, so do not expect him to make the grid here tonight. But that is your 16 cars that have a chance, for racing for it all there, Big Al.
Yeah, man, and I think that's just enough cars to get it done.
Well, taking a look here at our race facts coming into the Asus 250 at Talladega. 94 laps on the docket here tonight. Stages on 20 and 40. Of course, we have a little bit of a typo there on our race facts. Says 167. It's actually just 94 laps, ladies and gentlemen. We'd be here for about 3 hours if that was the case. But fuel windows is 28 laps with that 75% fuel tank. So we will see a lot of probably green flag pit stops in that final stage. Of course, these guys will be able to make the first stage and probably will pit at the stage 1 caution and then go on to race till the end of that end of the second stage, because that's really when the race is going to really start. You just want to try to stay clean through those first couple stages, wouldn't you say, Big Al?
Yeah, you're definitely going to have to be cognizant of everything that's going on around the racetrack. This is one of those tracks, where we come to these super speedways and it generally brings out the freaks and everybody else because all you really got to do is hold a hammer down and just kind of let it rip. So I think these guys, though, if you really want to be around at the end of this thing, you got to be very, very cognizant. You got to be very cautious. 2 stages. I mean, 20 laps for the first, 20 laps for the second. The third stage is where it's all going to come out in the wash, and you got to be available for that if you're going to try to make gain some ground here. Because you see, Clayton Hoffman is not present here tonight, so everybody that's in the playoffs under him, they're going to all have to try to get out here, Brian, tonight and try to make hay while the sun's shining, as you would say.
Yeah, especially those drivers that are still in the playoffs. Him not being here tonight could be a huge opportunity to get a win, kind of sneak one in. Of course, even if Clayton Hoffman was here tonight, still, this is probably anybody's chance to win. I mean, this is one of those tracks to where, yeah, I mean, a lot of people say it is based on luck, and I'd say it is partially based on luck. I'd say it's 50% luck and 50% decision making. I think the decision making at Talladega, that's what it really is all about, is chess on wheels at 3 wide. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a very good way to say it, man. It is definitely chess, not checkers. And speaking of which, looks like qualifying is almost over. Let's go ahead and take a brief step away, get our national anthem, get ready to come back, give you the grid, and let's get into some dynamic racing here at beautiful Talladega County, Talladega, Alabama.
Oh, say, can't you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have the grid set for this evening, and look at that. I do believe this might be Randy Drumhiller's first pole I have ever seen. At least that's what I've never seen him get a pole before. So he could have possibly before I joined the ISCA crew over here. But man, what a performance there for him. Mark Sanchez is going to be starting on the outside pole. Mark grabbing that second place. Third place is going to be Matt DeCiani. Fourth place is going to be Greg Wojcinski. Fifth place, Derek Heitman. Kenny Powell going to be sixth place. Seventh place is going to be Mark Pageant. Al Kozlowski starts in eighth place. Ninth place, Jeffrey Souza. And rounding out our top 10 here is John Mullins. And I do believe Don Avery 11th. Andrew Griesbaum going to be in 12th place. A little bit of a mix-up here because Chris Severa actually not going to be starting, so we got it a little bit mixed up a little bit here, Big Al, but I do believe that wraps out our field here.
Man, you did an excellent job on that. I would have just messed it up because, I always get lost once we get past 10 anyway.
Yeah, I definitely get that, man. And, we didn't have too many more. I do believe we have, I think Paul Olson should be making the grid out there, but he has not actually lined up. Could be thinking of maybe starting from the pits, and that is something that you see a lot of at Talladega. Just tell us, what do you think? Do you think that's a good strategy?
No. Not with the field being as small as it is. Paul Olson needs to get out here, get up in the thick of things. He is one of these guys that could benefit from a Talladega, because Talladega it's not stingy at all. I mean, although this is coming up on the month of October, it's time to trick or treat. Talladega definitely delivers a lot of treats. A lot of drivers get their first wins here, Brian. It's not as technical as a racetrack as some of the other tracks that we visit. So, I think we could definitely be poised to see someone in the winner's circle that's not usually there tonight.
Yeah, that's definitely true. We could 100% see that. It looks like Paul Olson has decided to grid up here as the pace car lights are out. We're just waiting for everybody to get rolling here. Well, let's take a brief step away and maybe pay some attention to that sponsor, Asus. We'll be right back.
Asus.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are rolling here as we get this thing underway. Let's take a look at the track conditions on the racetrack. Big Al, do you know?
Yeah, man, looks like we're going to have ourselves... oh, nope, can't see that.
Oh, okay. Well, I do believe we got it up on the screen right now. 83 degrees air temp, 98 on the actual track itself. Wind going to the northeast here at 10 mile an hour. That definitely could definitely throw some gusts out there to cause these guys some issues. We'll have to wait and see. But this is one of the biggest tracks.
You know, I was just thinking about something, Brian.
Yep.
As before the pace car gets out of the way, man, we got a relatively small field here. No fast repairs. If it gets sporty up front, man, we could see pretty slim shady race.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but I think these guys are gonna do some good racing out here. I have a lot of confidence in these drivers. Every one of them has shown a lot of talent and skill. We've seen a lot of races go green this season, I'll tell you that, and I'm betting on them.
Here we go, that Geico start zone. Looks like Randy Drumhiller going to be holding up just a little bit there as the green flag is out, and that's going to put us 3 wide at the start as Matt DeCiani goes way below that double yellow line trying to get out of the way here. Top line getting a lot of muster here, Brian. It's going to be interesting to see how this stacks up as Greg Wachinski now drives down to the inside to try to take the lead. Kenny Powell tucked up in the middle there, high on top of Randy Drumhiller with the 31 of Mark Paget. Oh, sorry, the 31 of Mark Sanchez way out there on the high line.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what Mark Sanchez is doing here. He does not seem like he's trying to get into the draft of the 88, the G&G camp. I think those would be the guys I'd want to follow because they're going to be good at these super speedways. I mean, but we saw DeCiani also. I mean, it looked like those guys really dropped to the back on purpose. I just do not understand why you want to do that whenever you have a limited size field here. I mean, I think it's time to go. You know what I mean? But maybe they're just playing a little safe. Hopefully it doesn't bite them in the rear, though, Big Al.
Yeah, but, it doesn't matter how many cars you got, though. It only takes 2 to wreck, and I think that's probably going to be a possible scenario. So some of these guys probably a little bit shotgun weary. I mean, it's been a long week at Talladega already. Big Al got punched in the face. Felt like I was fighting Mike Tyson with my hands behind my back. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, everybody gets really excited whenever Talladega comes up, but I think that they kind of underestimate the thirst for blood this racetrack has. What do you say?
Yeah, you got to have a lot of patience, man, and you got so many situations to get in trouble. I mean, these cars are very draft centric, so these guys right now single file line, and that's interesting because that's what it's going to take to try to get it going here early on. A lot of these drivers are going to be trying to make points. I mean, that's the big thing here, especially with the playoffs on. You see Kenny Powell now tucking in behind the 5 of Greg Wachinski, and as long as Greg Wachinski can keep doing what he's doing, I think it's going to be okay. So maybe about lap 18 or 19, I think the key is going to be just tuck in behind the guy in front of you and try to stay out of trouble.
Yeah, but I'm looking at that third-place driver right there, Al Kozlowski. He is not one to just sit behind someone. He's going to be the one to really watch. I mean, you see how close he gets to the back bumper there of the 24. One thing, the rule, unwritten rule, I should say, is don't push the pusher. So guys are going to be really careful when they get these big runs. But it looks like they're doing a fair job right now. Surprised at how calm and collected these guys are right now. I usually expect with the ISC, them to be. I'm sorry, my brain stopped working. I can't talk right now. They usually are, 2 or 3 wide at a mile and a half. So it looks like they're being very coy and cautious here tonight, Big Al.
Yeah, you got Mark Paget now. He's trying to get a run, getting a push from the 14 of Jeffrey Souza. This is really the first time we've seen any action going on here tonight. It looks like these guys are going to have the 11 of Don Avery behind them. They're going to be running that high line now, trying to make something happen. Andrew Griesbaum, that last car there in that lead pack, though, trying to make sure that he can keep up to the 64 John Mullins, who is right there in front of him. But here comes those 3 horsemen on that high side, Brian. That's what we're going to have to look out for.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if with just 3 cars they can make that line actually work. I mean, we know the top at Talladega is definitely, a viable strategy. And, I think those 3 cars will be able to get something done. We'll have to wait and see, though. And could someone jump up ahead of them whenever they see the momentum kind of shifting up there?
Yeah, but right now the 24 Kenny Powell's definitely pushing the 5 of Greg Wyszynski, giving him everything that he needs. Randy Drumhiller, though, tucked in right behind that 88 Speedway Angels of Al Keselowski, who has got 3rd place kind of sewed up here. Everybody's doing exactly what they need to do, Brian. But I think as racing goes on, though, that top 3 horsemen, they're going to try to get closer to the front. And I think it's just going to be a matter of time before we see if any more drivers decide to join them up there, try to make that high line as fast as it could be.
I think it's going to be well and truly a battle of Triad versus G&G. I think that's what we're seeing here, and kind of some individuals out there in a lot of ways. I mean, because you see Triad kind of lined up there on the top, while G&G kind of on the bottom. So, you got to love that. One thing about, though, plate racing, though, Big Al, that I think you've probably noticed that I've called a lot of races, I don't know about you, where guys will be on a team and be working together, and it really depends on how many of those teammates, survive to the end. Because, you could have 2 of your teammates get wiped out, and you're left all by your lonesome while the rest of the guys have teammates themselves. So you almost got to get used to working with about everybody out there, whoever you're comfortable with, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and another thing to add to that, too, this is the playoffs, Brian. So, I mean, teammates are great for dance partners, but at the end of the day here, everybody is in the playoffs for a championship. And in the absence of some of the key players in this series here tonight means that a lot of guys are going to be risking it for the biscuit. I had to say that. And that's exactly what we're going to be waiting to see, exactly who's going to let it hang out the most, Brian.
Wow, Kenny Powell taking a little bit of that apron there. I'm surprised in the corner that he didn't just lose it, but somehow able to keep it pointed in the right direction. Let's take a cockpit camera here from Kenny Powell. This will kind of show you the view that these guys have. Not a whole lot of, I'd say, not a really good perspective from that inside that race car to see those yellow lines.
No, especially when you got the guy in front of you. The key thing is you want him to stay about a foot up off of that line so you can't see it. But in Kenny's situation, he is going to have to watch when he comes around now. He is going to be trying to come up onto the 5 of Wyszynski, trying to give him that shove down the backstretch. As you see right there, he makes contact. And what he's doing right there is he is going to be pushing him into turn 3. And now you see he backs off just a little bit, trying to pick that yellow line back up. See how Powell comes up. Now, coming up is going to be 2 things. It's going to kind of allow him to cool his car down, and also going to be allowing him to pull that draft back so he can get right back up into the back end of that 5 car.
100%. And, you can see just from this cockpit camera here, he can barely see that yellow line. So, I mean, that's got to be very difficult to kind of guess where it is. You got to kind of look ahead of you and kind of, like I said, kind of guesstimate where you need to be on the racetrack. Oh, big pushes there. These guys are not, definitely not scared to bump each other.
Well, they can't be, because they still got to pay very close attention to Mark Padgett, because he is going to be coming around the outside, coming around the mountain when he comes. That's exactly what he is going to be doing, because Sousa's going to be giving him everything he can. And these guys, although they are just the lonesome, the 3 amigos, they are still making pace here right along beside that lower line now. They have not been side drafted, which is another thing that is interesting to see. But, man, look at the pace these guys are getting. And I think it's just going to be a matter of time before somebody decides to join them up there and at least make it a 4-car tandem. What do you think? You think it's going to be John Mullins? You think he'll jump up there maybe to try to lead them?
Could be the case, Big Al. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, opportunity strikes. It just depends on when you go. I mean, we've seen it before where guys will go too late.
Yeah, these guys are out there trying to make it happen. I mean, we're halfway through the first stage, and just no one else has been able to get out there. No one else is trying to, gamble, I guess you'd say. Nobody wants to roll the dice. But somebody's going to come up there because those guys aren't going to drop down. So I think they're going to sit up there until somebody joins them. There's the 31. There you go. Mark Sanchez decides to jump up top there. Now, Mark Paget will waste no time trying to get his nose up into Sanchez's rear to push him on up to the front. Now, I hope Sanchez has the cojones to to hold on because he is going to get shoved all the way, Brian.
That he is, Big Al. Do apologize for having a little bit of a technical issue right quick. Just let me work on it right quick. If you don't mind taking it from us and doing radio style.
Al Keselowski jumps to the outside right there, jumping up into the mix. That's going to make it 3 wide right there. Guys, as we're coming out now, Greg Wachinski is up into the middle lane. He has got Randy Drumhiller, followed by John Mullins coming up on the inside. Now that high line is definitely formulated as the going to find himself in the middle off the path out of the draft, and that's going to allow Mark Paget in the 30, well, Mark Sanchez in the 31 to come right up beside him. Keselowski now drops back down on the inside. He is going to get right before Andrew Griesbaum, giving it everything that he has. But just like that, Mark Paget still out to the front. Jeffrey Sousa shoving as we come to the start-finish line, and we are 5 to go, 4 to go right there, just like that before stage 1 is over. And these guys aren't showing any signs of relenting just yet, Brian, as Mark Paget's still doing everything that he has to try to hold on that lead. Now he's going to find himself in a situation as that low line of Jeffrey Sousa is going to come right up there. The top line's getting organized, but Mark Paget's probably going to want to try to get up top there because he cannot let that high line get by him. They got to do everything that they can to maintain the lead, and I think that's his strategy right now. Don't know what his team is thinking, but the 5 of Greg Wachinski still getting shoved by the 24, Kenny Powell. Now, Wachinski now got the 31 of Mark Sanchez coming up behind the 24. They got Matt DeCiani behind him. That top line definitely is going to have what it needs to get going as Paul Olsen now starts to come up. But right now, the bottom line is letting it go, and they're having their way with it. But here comes the top line. Wojcinski getting shoved by Powell. High they go. Not quite organized as much as that bottom line. Mark Padgett has definitely got to be feeling pretty good about how he is sitting right now with 3 to go in this stage here, Brian.
Yeah, I do apologize, Big Al. I'm still having a whole lot of issues here, but
just like that, Kenny Powell shoves the 5 of Greg Wojcinski by. They drop down in the front of Mark Padgett, leaving Mark Sanchez all by he lonesome on the high side. Greg Wojcinski now comes back up. He has got Powell to follow, but the 20 of Mark Padgett, the 2 of Mark Padgett is definitely going to be doing what he can. Looks like we've got a situation almost going to be 3 wide here as Greg Wojcinski is going to try to do everything he can to try to make that car as wide as possible. Kenny Powell pinches the 2 of Mark Padgett just a little bit down low. That's going to leave Powell up to the high side by himself, but now he is going to have a little bit of help coming behind him as the 88 of Al Keselowski is going to be trying to shove him. Greg Wojcinski comes back up to pick up his G&G teammates, but just like that, here comes the 2 of Mark Padgett being shoved by the 14 of Jeffrey Souza, and they've got the 11 of Don Avery somewhere down there behind him in that low line trying to make it work as that high line starts to get reconstituted, trying to do everything they can. Greg Wojcinski was down low, but he decided to pop back up low so he could pick up his G&G teammates, and it definitely worked out for him as Kenny Powell now is back there shoving them as hard as he can. Keselowski having a little bit of a run, not trying to figure out, not yet if decided if he's going to go high or low. Looks like he decided to go low, but Mark Padgett and Jeffrey Souza doing it, and getting it done. And I'm honestly starting to believe as we are now going to be 1 lap to go in this first stage here as we come down the backstretch, if that high line is going to be able to reconstitute in time in order to give these guys a run for their money. But you got to give a huge shout out to Mark Padgett for getting it done. He was on the bottom line. He made it work. We saw that high line earlier tonight trying to get organized and but these were the 3 horsemen that were doing it. Now they're down on that low line making it work. Greg Wojcinski still not giving up any chance that he has yet as him and Kenny Powell with the 43 Paul Olsen still trying to make it work. And look at the run Wojcinski is getting coming off of turn 3. Don't think it's going to be quite enough as Mark Padgett has all of Jeffrey Souza right behind him as he could get. But here comes Kenny Powell, and he is not yet done. He's going to be shoving his G&G teammate, the 5 of Greg Wojcinski, trying to make that outside line work. The bottom line is definitely still the favorite line right now. We are 20 laps to go. Looks like this could be it coming to the line. Mark Padgett getting a little bit high. He is definitely going to try to block that outside line.
Wow.
Greg Wojcinski not actually able to do it. Here comes Greg Wojcinski being pushed by Kenny Powell with Paul Olsen to the top. Will Wojcinski get back down? He'll get in front of
on the apron.
Low.
Jeffrey Souza puts, I do believe, Paul Olsen into the wall. Wow. Caution comes out. Of course, that is the stage, I do believe. But, man, that was a kind of a hefty accident there with Paul Olsen smashing into the wall. We came back just in time to be able to catch that. I appreciate Big Al kind of doing it radio style for us here. We were having a little bit of some issues, but wow, looks like Greg Wojcinski, stage 1 winner, Big Al. Kenny Powell, 2nd place. Mark Padgett in 3rd. Jeffrey Souza, 4th. Derek Heitman in 5th. Don Avery, 6th. John Mullins in 7th. 8th place, Randy Drumhiller. 9th place, Paul Olsen. 10th place, Andrew Griesbaum. So those are going to be the top 10 points paying positions. Man, it sounds like they were having some crazy racing whenever our visuals kind of went bad there, Big Al.
Yeah, I mean, those bottom line guys are definitely trying to make it work, and then the high line guys are getting organized. So, look, if the first stage is going to be any indication of the racing that we got to see here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I think you definitely are going to want to tune in and see this. But with stage 1 in the books, let's go ahead and take a quick step away, get a word from our sponsors, man, and we'll be back with Greg Wojcinski, our stage 1 winner.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like I do believe these guys should be heading down pit road here any moment.
The green flag pit stops are over. It looks like Greg Wachinski won the race off of pit road. Speaking of Greg Wachinski, I think we got him up here in the booth for you, Brian.
Oh, I do apologize. I must have. Yeah, that's right. Because I went back to watch what happened there with Paul and Jeffrey Souza. But Greg Wachinski, stage 1 winner, man. You got to be feeling pretty good. You had your G&G teammates all right there behind you, kind of pushing you that whole time, and a lot of battling. How you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely owe it to all my teammates here. They helped push me to the win there, stage 1.
Yeah, definitely. Seemed like it was kind of a hectic battle too. I mean, you started off very, I'd say, clean and kind of chilled out for the most part. How did you feel whenever it kind of started going crazy out there?
I mean, I anticipated it. You know, everybody's just going to ride for 15 laps, and then everybody's going to try to win in the last 5. So just kind of knew what was coming. So we had a pretty good strategy there. The high side is where you want to be, in my opinion.
Now, I mean, do you feel fairly confident that you might be able to bring it out here tonight? I mean, how much preparation have you put into this race here today?
Not a ton, I have to say, but, you know, we've ran here many times. It's pretty much the same thing every time. So I have a good feeling, yeah.
All right, man. Well, we wish you the best of luck for sure. After that stage 1 win, who could we shout out for that 5 car?
Well, thanks to you guys. You always do a great job commentating on the race. And all my buddies at G&G Racing.
All righty. Well, we appreciate your time there, Greg. Good luck to you. Hopefully we'll see you probably at the end of the race.
Yes, sir.
All righty. That was Greg Wachinski, our stage 1 winner. Of course, we have another stage to go here, stage 2, which is going to conclude, I do believe, on lap 40.
Yeah, but if stage 2 is anything like stage 1, I mean, hold on tight because it's going to be a heck of a ride. These guys, even though it's a small field, it is definitely not small on racing. As apparently everybody brought their A game, and these guys are mixing it up because they understand the value of these stage points, especially minus some of the heavy hitters in this field. This is an opportunity, like I said before, for a lot of guys to try to get out here and make some very valuable points. As the lights are off on the pace car, we'll double up, Brian. And I think we will be going green flag racing here once we get back around the start-finish line.
Yeah, definitely getting ready to get this thing back underway. Of course, Greg Wachinski going to be starting side by side with Kenny Powell instead of having him right there behind him. So could we see a little bit of some strategy when it comes to this restart to try to get his teammate back behind him? You also see Derek Heitman sitting there in 4th place. You know, Mark Pageant, who was putting on a great show during stage 1. I mean, would not surprise to see him, make some moves here. Could see some unlikely allies out of here tonight, I do believe. Because, I mean, it's really, like you said, it's, teammates, yes, you're going to try to help them out as best you can. But if you know someone's fast, even if, you see a teammate in front of you, you're going to go with the guy that's fast. I'm telling you that.
Well, you don't have to. I mean, you can just sit there and watch him go by.
I'm just saying, usually you try to, if you want to win this race, you want to win this race yourself. I mean, like you mentioned before, even though your teammates, teammates don't, teams don't win championships. It's like you have to win that championship. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. But Greg Wachinski did do a very good job, though, of actually getting back up there to pick up some G&G teammates. Now he's leading us to that Geico restart zone. It'll be interesting to see if the 24 Kenny Powell can actually get a good start. And then the next thing is Wachinski going to go low or is he going to stay high? Now he is off and running. Powell is up behind him. He comes up high. Derek Heitman now going to be coming down low. He is going to have the 11 of Don Avery's going to be pulling up behind him. Mark Pageant up high this time, though. He is now part of that G&G duo, making it a trio, even though he is not with that team. But, man, look at how quickly things have shaped up for us here just in a half a lap, right?
And talk about unlikely allies. Mark Pageant hanging around with the G&G guys up on the top there. Jeffrey Souza also up there trying to make his way up on top. The top line starting to really get momentum. Here comes the 76, though, Derek Heitman on the bottom, going to be trying to make stuff happen here as he's being pushed by Don Avery. And Don Avery has been having really a substantial last few races. I mean, we've seen him grab some great finishes. I do believe he even got a top 3 on Saturday last week. So I think he's trying to follow up these performances. He's trying to get better every time. Would not be surprised to see him in victory lane here shortly, maybe even tonight.
Yeah, we just got to see how it plays out, though, because the 76 of Heitman definitely down on the bottom, but that high line now having 7 cars up high, definitely the dominant line. Bottom line only having 5 cars. Derek Heitman in the lead down on the bottom line, but finds himself all the way back in the 8th place now. So if he is going to want to try to get a hold of that draft maybe and run up front, think he's got to change his tactics. Now he finds himself all the way back to the end there in 11th place, Brian. Just like that high line and the bottom line have kind of merged. Mark Padgett down on the bottom line now.
He's big switch up there. You know, you saw Jeffrey Souza and him kind of drop down to the bottom right in front of Al Kozlowski, John Mullins right there behind them, and the Lucky Charms car. Looks like it switched. And that's the nature of Talladega. You're going to see that top line be really, really powerful. And it still is, I do believe. But, I mean, then everybody kind of mass migrates down to the bottom. And it happens so fast, Big Al.
Yeah, it does. And there goes Al Kozlowski hopping up to the top there. He is going to be trying to get behind Randy Drumhiller to chase his 2 G&G teammates, though. But Mark Padgett and Jeffrey Souza really way back as that top line got a heck of a run. Now Kozlowski and that Speedway Angels 88 finds himself hung out to dry up top, trying to get back down in that line. And now we find ourselves back in that single file racing there, trying to keep that draft in order, Brian.
Yeah, you know, single file for right now, but you see how quickly things change out here at Talladega. I mean, could find someone making a run here shortly, but what a great job from Randy Drumhiller, able to grab the pole here, running right now in 3rd position. Definitely some fantastic racing. I mean, we saw it in the last stage where it kind of was single filed out, and then all of a sudden it all kind of broke loose. We saw guys making moves everywhere on the racetrack, and I think it won't be long before we're right back to that, Big Al.
Oh, yeah, I imagine once we get about halfway through this stage here, drivers are definitely going to start to try to stick their heads out there and try to make a move, you know, but right now everybody's just doing all they can to keep the pace, if you will. If you look at the rest of the field there, back past Andrew Griesbaum, you got Mark Sanchez, Derek Heitman, and Matt DeCiani slowly trying to catch back up with the field. You're going to see if these guys are going to have any kind of a run that maybe will try to allow them to kind of make that high line work. But right now, everybody's just single file down low.
That they are, as they're on to the back stretch right now. And, of course, we saw earlier some contact for Mr. Paul Olson. Unfortunately, I do believe he is actually on pit road 7 laps down. Just a little bit of an update on that. We saw contact kind of right before that stage caution came out between him and Jeffrey Souza. Souza's still out there running, and unfortunately, I mean, sad for Paul Olson. This was one of his probably biggest shots to get a good finish, and he was running good right there with the pack.
Yeah, I don't think he's out for contact, though. I think he's just out for personal reasons.
Hopefully that is the case. I mean, I just know that, you know, the kind of the way he hit from what I saw could have easily broke a toe link or something like that. That's the only reason I say he's probably down there, maybe for some repairs. But you see Al Kozlowski hung out to dry once again. I mean, this is a track that's all about friends. I mean, you know, if you're the one that everybody kind of considers the enemy, no one's going to work with you. So Al Kozlowski needs to make some friends quick right now.
I don't think that's it. I think Kozlowski is just sick of you know, getting pulled in and pulling out. And so instead of him hitting his brakes, he just elects to hop up to that high line, hoping that somebody will eventually go with him. But, I mean, it is still early. Right now we are 10 to go in this stage, though. So don't be surprised if next time you see Kozlowski maybe jump up there if he has a little bit of company.
Yeah, definitely could be the case. Unfortunately, you know, not a whole lot of teammates left. I just mentioned Paul Olson, you know, down pit road, not really there to help him. So it's going to be someone from another team. Look at that. Here comes Mark Padgett moves up to the top. Jeffrey Souza, I swear they're of one mind right now. Don Avery able to get right there up there too. So they are trying to get the top line going again.
These are the three amigos. These were the guys that were definitely committed to making that high line work in the first stage. So here they come again with 9 to go in the second stage, definitely knowing it and identifying that the high line is the fast line. Look at Andrew Griesbaum a little bit further back in the field. He too is up there on that high line. Now the high line is going to have the advantage. You know, we're going to be waiting to see what Greg Wyszynski does as Mark Padgett starts to beam down on the outside, coming around the backstretch.
A lot of wiggling going on right now. Kenny Powell. Powell drops to the top. He drives to the top in front of Mark Padgett.
That's a strategy right there, the G&G guys, to try to stifle what Padgett's doing now. You see Padgett and Souza now going down low, but here comes Greg Wyszynski right there, and he is going to pull right up and watch Powell try to slip right back, because Wyszynski is going to hop up in front of Powell. There it is, and now Powell's going to get his nose right back up to the back of the 5, and he is going to try to make that thing ride, baby, as they're now transitioning to the inside. 3 wide there just a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like Mark Padgett and Jeffrey Souza do not want to let them have the top line and keep driving or trying to block them in a way. It seems like it did not work this time, though, because Greg Wyszynski and Kenny Powell were able to surge ahead on the bottom line.
And what a surge it was. They got Randy Drumhill just right behind them, but watch how fast that high line regroups and actually gains ground on these guys as Al Kozlowski now slides right up in front of Andrew Griesbaum. Griesbaum now coming back down low.
Yeah, a lot of side-by-side action back here, 10th on back, as you see Derek Heitman on the bottom line, Mark Padgett and those guys trying to get that line back rolling again. Al Kozlowski's going to try to benefit from this, as you see some big pushes there to the rear end of Mark Padgett from Jeffrey Souza.
And the 43 of Paul Olson back onto the racetrack. I think whatever it was that he was doing, he has gotten it done. But that is not going to be a favor from him to the rest of the field. It's now, here we come around the backstretch with some 6 laps to go in this stage. Olson definitely going to be out there by himself without a draft partner. He is going to have to go really high, Brian, and that's just going to make this thing get mixed up a little bit. We'll be watching the field as they come around the 43 to see how this works. Maybe he'll try to, he is going to have to go high. Greg Wyszynski getting everything that he can handle from Kenny Powell in the 24 who is pushing him. Randy Drumholler is just sitting back there just kind of waiting to pounce. But here comes the 31 of Sanchez. There's that 3-wide situation. Looks like everybody's going to get by just fine.
Yeah, Sanchez with a huge run up through the middle groove here. He's got Derek Heitman right there behind him, giving him some really good pushes here. And Mark Padgett also lined up. Kenny Powell thinking, I think, maybe in the mind to go up there and block this, because I think they have regrouped. The top line is coming back. As we're now 35 laps into this race. Going to be 5 to go when we cross the line this time by. Wow, look at the job that Kenny Powell has been doing, pushing with that Toyota, been really getting into the back of that Chevy. One thing I like to always talk about when we come to tracks like this, a lot of people don't realize that these different models don't push equally. You got the Fords, they're a little bit more squared body on the front. They do a better job of pushing.
They used to be, but not really now. Now they are really kind of at the same advantage as everybody else with the new Gen 7 car. So the easiest way to explain this is it's almost like pushing 2 marbles against each other, especially with the diffuser back there and the peak of those cars being where it is. So without the tape, though, it allows them to get in there for a little bit longer, but you still have to be very careful about pushing the guy in front of you.
Yeah, very much so. One good thing about these cars, they are very tough. So, a lot of times whenever you're in the Gen 6 and you'd be bump drafting somebody, if you get into that rear end a little bit too hard, you could end up getting damaged. But these cars are hardy and definitely can handle it, as we see Al Kozlowski shoot to the top right in front of Matt DeCiani.
Yeah, he saw DeCiani coming with a little bit of steam there and tried to get on there. Now he's got to make a decision there as he found himself in the middle as DeCiani and Padgett both kind of side straddle him no one wanting to work with the old Speedway Angel, so he's going to have to. He gets the choice if he goes high or low. Looks like he's going to choose to go low there and run with the bottom guys.
But Greg Wyszynski has been in control of this race for quite a while. I do believe he's probably led the most laps thus far, and that 5 car is definitely looking really, really strong here. He's got some good guys behind him that are going to stay with him. I mean, still unknown Randy Drumhiller, John Mullins, Andrew Griesbaum. Those guys might not stay with him. Of course, Mark Pageant, we know that those guys are going to be working against them, that's for sure. But, wow, sometimes all you need is one person to help you out, and I think Kenny Powell's definitely that guy here tonight for the 5. Wonder if how long that'll last, though, Big Al, just considering, I mean, at the end of this race, Powell's going to want to win himself, and I think it's going to be every man for himself.
Yeah, I wonder what's going on with the 43 of Olsen, because he was down on pit road. He did get some incidental contact. I mean, he did step away. It was not due to meatball, so I'm assuming he had all of his damage fixed. But when that pack went by him, I mean, they literally went by him.
Yeah, he wasn't able to really grab onto the end of the draft there, so unfortunately he's going to get left behind.
Yeah, he's some 5 seconds off the pace.
Yeah, something definitely wrong with that race car. Of course, he is the only driver that isn't any laps down. He is 10 laps down right now. Everybody else, the top 12, all within 2 seconds of one another. You see Mark Pageant once again making something happen up on the top.
Yeah, that's right, because we're 1 lap to go here, and look at Jeffrey Sousa pushing Mark Pageant around. Now, once again, there goes Greg Wyszynski and Kenny Powell trying to get up top to kind of stop that run, if you will.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Kenny Powell and Greg Wyszynski have Chris Severa on the box, probably spotting them.
Yeah, but Pageant still doing everything that he needed to do. He did kind of stay by. They tried to get up top to stop him, but we're not actually able to do it. So Avery up top behind Souza, behind Pageant. Oh, and Wyszynski goes around. That's going to collect at least. Oh, my gosh. That took half the field out right there with that one.
And it just broke loose all of a sudden. All of a sudden, too. Just a bad push there, I think, from Kenny Powell. Sent Greg Wyszynski sideways. Let's take a look back at that one, Big Al. That was nuts.
Yeah, that is going to end the stage, too, unfortunately.
And you see just how fast things can go wrong at this racetrack. Kenny Powell all over the rear end of the 5. I think pushing in the corner. I think that's what the kind of the problem was here. Yeah, just pushing through the corner here, and just Greg up the racetrack, takes out Mark Pageant, Andrew Griesbaum, Randy Drumhiller, John Mullins, all those guys, significant damage. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw some broken toe links.
Andrew Griesbaum, Al Koslowski, Mark Pageant, Randy Drumhiller, all recipients of the meatball flag. That means all of those drivers are going to need repairs. So at least 4 guys right there that were contenders to win this thing, all affected by that one, Brian.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, that took out a lot of drivers, and some of those guys were playoff contenders. I mean, you see the heavy damage there on Mark Pageant's vehicle, as I do believe everybody's going to be going down pit road. I think that makes Kenny Powell our Stage 2 winner. I'm sure this is going to be kind of a conflicting interview when when Big Al talks to him, just because, yeah, he did win Stage 2, but his teammate heavily damaged.
Yeah, and with that, why don't we go ahead and take a step away, get a word from our sponsors, allow these guys to gather themselves up behind the pace car. There will be 1 more lap before they're actually eligible to pit. The only driver on pit road right now is going to be the 44, Randy Drumhiller, not actually able to make it back around under his own power. So that's really going to be to his own detriment. But looks like the majority of the field is on pit road. We'll be right back after this brief commercial break.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Kenny Powell, I do believe, able to win the race off of pit road. And I think we just got him in here just now. Kind of caught him mid-sentence, I do believe. Kenny Powell, Stage 2 winner. A little bit of a bittersweet moment there. You see your teammate kind of get spun off of your bumper in the corner. And then, heavy damage, but you still win Stage 2. So probably a little conflicted right now, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I definitely didn't want that to happen. Now my dancing partners are damaged and a little slower maybe. We'll see what happens. Talked to Greg already on radio, and he's got a minute damage, I think. So he should be all right to come back out, and we'll see what happens. But, yeah, that was unfortunate. I saw what happened to me and Greg, obviously, but there seemed to be a wreck on the outside. I don't know anything about that, but because I don't think I made contact with anybody on the outside.
I think it got up into Mark Paget.
Painful.
Yeah, there's kind of a multi-layer accident there. Definitely multiple cars getting taken out of it. Randy Drumhiller involved, Andrew Griesbaum. I know Big Al even had a list of the guys with meatball flags. I do believe it was 4 cars, wasn't it, Big Al?
That's affirmative. Yeah, Al Kozlowski, Randy Drumhiller, Mark Paget.
Definitely unfortunate. Now, what do you think actually attributed to the accident itself, Kenny? I mean, you guys are in the middle of the corner. Had y'all been pushing in the corner before?
Yeah, I'm very confident in pushing all around the track. Once we get hooked up, I can push them all the way around. But we were moving around a little bit, and that was just unfortunate bump, wrong timing kind of thing. I saw him going around and actually tried to help him. Once it was past the point of no return, tried to push him out to the left, so he didn't come back up into traffic. And that wasn't successful, I don't think.
Yeah, that's definitely very unfortunate, man. And I think a lot of it probably comes down to the visibility. We watched through your cockpit camera for a lot of the race here tonight, and it kind of was just seeing what the visibility looked like, and it's very hard to see that yellow line, so that could have definitely maybe had something to do with it, but still, you got yourself a Stage 2 win. Hopefully you have the best of luck. Who can we shout out for you?
You guys in the booth, I appreciate that. TLC for being their sponsor this season, and my guys at G&G Racing.
All righty, well, we appreciate you, Kenny. Good luck to you.
All right, thank you.
That was Kenny Powell, our Stage 2 winner, and definitely a little bit of probably a conflicted Kenny Powell there. But, I mean, now, Big Guy, you can't dwell on that for long because you got a race to win.
Well, I can't. I mean, I'm going to dwell on it for a little bit because you totally stole my interview, and I'm just like, what the hell?
Oh, I sure did.
Yeah, you did. I mean, like, wow.
How about you can interview the winner tonight? My bad.
Can we dance with your dates?
Definitely was not intentional. I just kind of just, I don't know, just kind of kept going. My bad about that. But it looks like the pace car is down pit road.
Yeah, looks like the pace car is going to be down and out of the way here. We will be getting back to green flag racing here in this third and final stage. And I do believe this stage might actually accompany some pits. It looks like the 78 and the 44 still down pit road getting their damage repaired.
I'll tell you, this helped out Paul Olson as the green flag back out in the air. Kenny Powell with a very good start. He's got Mark Sanchez and I do believe Derek Heitman there right behind him. Top line not really collected as of yet. We see Jeffrey Souza and the 11 of Don Avery going to be trying to get together here.
Yeah, everybody's going to have to get reacquainted because right now, some guys still going to be suffering from shell shock. Mark Paget also down on pit road with the 78 and the 44. So now you just got to kind of try to figure out what you want to do.
Wow, look at that. Mark Sanchez kind of leaving Kenny Powell out to dry. Gets underneath him, pushes him, or kind of didn't really contact him, but definitely kind of nosed his way in there, muscled his way in, and took the lead from him, put him to the high side. Now Kenny Powell having to work with Don Avery and Jeffrey Souza. Of course, like you mentioned, Mark Paget, their teammate that they just lost out on the racetrack. Mark Sanchez, though, out in the lead, has been having a very good season
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of time before the 11 of Avery kind of just drops down. And there it is. He's going to drop down as well. Now he is going to be behind Greg Wachinski and just probably trying to get away from the G&G guys is what I would imagine. But that top line definitely now starting to get a little bit of a lead there. Now we're going to be watching the 76 of Derek Heitman. Now Derek was up front earlier, kind of didn't want to be up there, kind of fell back. Now he finds himself up front, and now he has got Matt DeCiani. Hey, welcome to the front, Matt. I was wondering what was going on, but here he comes now trying to get himself up there. So I think now we're just going to have ourselves a good old-fashioned draft race here.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and, you know, Matt DeCiani last couple weeks been seeming like he's just been missing the mark a little bit here, but glad to see him back up and now the top 5 to maybe get some crucial points. That way he can, you know, contend for this championship. As you see, kind of some fresh faces up here, up in the lead that we haven't seen up in the lead really tonight. I mean, Mark Sanchez really looking strong down there, but it looks like the top line is starting to get a little bit better collected. You see Greg Wachinski and Kenny Powell. I thought Greg Wachinski's damage was starting to really catch up with him, but it seems like they've kind of got it collected back up and are back with the main pack here.
Yeah, you know what, though? If she'll crank and run, she'll draft here. That's one thing I know about this track. So, yeah, if Wachinski's car is, I mean, he did not have required repairs. That's another thing. So I definitely think he's going to be just fine. It's just a matter of him and Powell being smart right now. I don't think they're going to get up front. I think they're going to try to conserve their fuel, stay in the back, run with the pack. No need to get crazy. I mean, there's no stage points on the line here. You just got to be available at the end of this thing.
Yeah, 100%. And looking at the actual fuel window, 28 laps. So these guys will end up having to go down at some point, and it could be more than once. You know, easily I think it could be more than once here, just considering, I mean, we still have just under, I do believe, 50 laps to go here.
Yeah, and so some of these guys are running draft setups, which means they probably don't have a lot of brakes. So when you get into these green flag pit stops, it's going to be very critical getting down to your pit stall. We're not going to talk about that now. We're just halfway through this thing, so we still got a little bit of time left. But, man, Mark Sanchez now definitely getting himself out front now. What you're going to see is I don't think Derek Heitman has the loyalty. I mean, yeah, Powell pushed Wachinski, but I don't know how this is going to work with the remaining drivers. I don't know if anybody is necessarily going to say, hey, I'm going to push this guy to the win. I think a lot of these guys are just going to want to win themselves. What about you? What do you think?
No, I agree totally. I think that, you know, the top 5 or top 4 here don't have a whole lot of allegiances with each other. So, I mean, they're definitely going to be just fighting for the win. I think, you know, cutthroat racing, I'd say, up here in the front. I mean, just considering we've seen these kind of groups get broken up. Mark Padgett looks like he's going to be rejoining the field, getting back on the racetrack off of pit road. Wonder what speed he's going to have left, as I do believe he is actually 7 laps down.
Yeah, Randy Drumhiller actually electing to go ahead and step out, but Mark Padgett as well as Greasebomb both back onto the racetrack.
Well, you got to think, I mean, Mark Padgett's trying to get every point that he can. He is in the playoffs, so he's trying to do every little bitty thing he can do. Even if it gives him one position, that's still, you know, enough. Just considering, I mean, Clayton Hoffman not here tonight, trying to, you know, kind of bank on that. He might not have won this season, but he has definitely been very, very consistent. Or I should say he hasn't won in the playoffs. I think he has won during the actual regular season.
Yeah, but the playoffs totally different picture, man. It's Griesbaum now trying to maintain the pace as the field goes by him. He's going to be trying to give it everything he can to maintain pace with the leaders. As Mark Sanchez is leading this field now. Looks like Griesbaum is actually going to be able to get up to speed.
Really surprised. I just looked through the field and saw Al Kozlowski is also out there right now. I didn't realize he's actually 18 seconds behind the field, pushing Paul Olson right now, who is, I do believe, 9 laps down. So got to find draft and help wherever you can. You can see the damage, though, on that 78. You were just kind of talking about Andrew Griesbaum, heavy right front damage.
Yeah, he was trying to keep up with the pack as long as he could, but maybe him and Padgett to be able to get together back there with the 43 and the 88, and they'll at least be able to get their own little draft going because, man, this place is so lonely when you're out there by yourself. I mean, Talladega is just one of those tracks where other drivers, it seems like they're in a different time zone, man. But you know what? You got to give it up to Mark Sanchez, though, as he has got the 31 car out to the front, and he has got to be feeling good about his performance here tonight. So I don't think we could actually talk about that enough for him, man, because in stage one, he was up there battling in the thick of it. Then he kind of slipped back there. But now look at him, man. Look at the 31 go.
Yeah, definitely having a fantastic night here so far. That 31 has been putting on a fantastic show. Chevy probably loving to have those logos on his race car because he's definitely the Pied Piper right now. Still a long, long way to go, and I expect we might not have seen the last of that yellow flag. We'll have to wait and see, though, because even with this amount of cars right now still left out here kind of in competition, there's still always a chance for something to go wrong. I mean, all it takes is for two to tango, wouldn't you say, Big Al?
Yeah, but I think these guys are just really, at this point in the race, man, I don't see any reason to do anything other than what they're doing right now. There's no point for 2x2. I mean, what you got to do right now is you just got to stay in, maintain the draft, and get through your green flag pit stalls cycle. That's the key right now.
Of course, these guys have 12 laps on their stint right now. We mentioned 28 laps was the fuel window, so give it about probably, I'd say, another 15 or 16 laps, and they probably will be having to go down pit road. You see, I do believe Derek Heitman trying to push the 31, but a little bit of some wiggles going on up here. So hopefully there's no miscommunications or, a bad bump. We've already seen what a bad bump can do tonight.
Yeah, you just got to be comfortable with the guy that's pushing you, and because that's everything. You just can't have anybody behind you, man. That's the key. You got to build faith with the guy that's going to push you. And a lot of these drivers right now, they're sizing each other up because, like you said, there's no allegiances here, man. This is anybody's race. So you're just wanting to see, hey, look, how is this guy back here? And what, man? Do you even have push speed, man? Some guys, their cars are just better being pushed instead of pushing. So I think it's a lot of things, a lot of factors to weigh out. But I think every driver out there has a 1 in 8 chance of winning.
Yeah, that's definitely very much true here. And, not even just is the car set up for pushing or being pushed, but, I mean, even the driver itself, some drivers are better at just being the pusher, and some drivers are better at being the leader. I know I like to be out front having somebody push me. It's very stressful to be pushing someone because, I mean, you literally have their life, or their race, I should say, in your hands.
Now, I'm surprised that Mark Sanchez isn't just kind of bailed out right now because, I mean, he not only is cutting the win, Rand, but he's putting himself at a little bit of a disadvantage because he's consuming more fuel by leading the way. So I would expect him to sometime here pretty soon to kind of pop out and just kind of get in line instead of being out front.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. I mean, he's kind of what a buddy of mine would refer to as a fuel pig right now. He is definitely the one that is using the most fuel, being out there cutting that air. I'm just hoping that he's able to make it still work because, you'd be surprised at how much gas, you're saving when you're behind someone at a track like this versus when you're in clean air. I mean, it could be a whole 2 laps or something different on the amount of laps you can go, Big Al.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He is going to have to try to get as many laps as he can. So he is going to definitely want to get back there and kind of start saving at some point. You just can't stay out front and keep burning I mean, that is not the way you earn. So Kenny Powell definitely has the best strategy right now. As you see, he is just being drug along by the lead pack, and that's definitely going to pay him dividends. Because think about it like this: that's going to mean less time that he's going to have to spend down on pit road, because that's less fuel that he's going to have to put into the car. So that gives you even more of an advantage, because, hey, tenths and hundreds, thousandths of a seconds matter.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, a lot of guys could even forgo taking tires at all here whenever they're going down pit road. I know we've seen, I do believe at Daytona, guys were taking, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, right? No, it was left sides, wasn't it? To get off the pit road better.
That was Talladega here as well. We saw, because the temperature in the tires were a lot cooler here when we were here earlier in the spring. So drivers were taking left sides only. So I don't know. That might be something we might see here a little bit later on tonight too, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, and, you know, that also significantly decreases your time on pit road, too. I mean, you get just some left side tires and just a little bit of gas. You know, could be definitely the perfect antidote. And like you said, Kenny Powell might not have to take quite as much. I mean, the same thing for Derek Hyman. I mean, Hyman's sitting right behind this 31. I think he's doing this on purpose. He doesn't want to pass him. I think that if he wanted to, he probably may be able to duck out and try to pass, but why would he want to? You know, he just run until it's time to pit, and then it's go time. Speaking of pit road, I mean, easy to make mistakes at a place like this. I mean, relatively, I'd say this is one of the easier pit roads, but you got to think, even though it seems relatively straightforward, you're going at 190 mile an hour, 200 mile an hour, somewhere in there, and having to slow down to 55 in that short succession of time can be rather difficult. Easy to lock the tires up. You can end up spinning on pit road, and guess what happens? No caution comes out for that.
I mean, it just depends on what kind of setup you got. I ran I attempted to run the NIS last night, and the setup I had no brakes. So I had what you call draft brakes, and that was not fun. So, yeah, I mean, who knows how these guys are actually set up here through this sequence.
Yeah, and you can make a big mistake also on pit road that might not would hurt you quite as much at other tracks. I mean, we've seen guys maybe miss their box and have to kick it into reverse, you know, and get back into their box and only like lose a second on pit road, and they're still able to get back out there and even have a chance to win the race. But that is not going to be the case at Talladega, because if you are on pit road 1 second longer than you need to be, you've lost the pack. You're not going to be in the draft with anybody. You're going to be by yourself.
Yeah, the whole point of this is definitely trying to maintain pace, and that's going to be the key. That's what these guys are doing. They're all sizing each other up. They understand where they're at. They're going to be about 20 laps right now on their equipment, so they still got about another, 19 laps before they have to pit.
Well, right now they're 19 laps, like you said, 20 laps pretty much on their equipment here. The next 8 laps, most of these guys are going to end up having to pit.
Okay, yeah, especially Mark Sanchez. He's going to be the one that we're going to be watching, because if the pit window is 28 laps, you said.
That's the numbers I have here.
Yeah, he is going to be right at that.
But I mean that number could vary greatly though, because I mean, we've talked about it already, the clean air versus the dirty air. I mean that number changes significantly. Look at that, Greg Wyszynski and Kenny Powell, I do believe, trying to make something happen up on the top line.
In a very interesting turn of events.
Not sure how they're going to be able to do it here. I mean, they're getting some all right runs. And we saw how strong they were earlier on that top line. But I think that might have been robbed from that 5. I don't know. I mean, like you said, he didn't have any meatball flag or anything like that. But still, 1 minute damage. 1 minute of damage could be something.
No, I'm telling you, man. If it'll drive, it'll draft.
Big aero track, though. If anything's, not aerodynamics, you know what I mean?
Well, I think they got it figured out with a hammer. It's the 24-5 now, definitely starting to make a move here.
Yeah, they definitely are. I mean, they are starting to really make some moves here. I'm surprised that 5 even trusts the 24 to push him anymore.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, why wouldn't he? I mean, Kenny's been pushing him all this time, so He's going to get back up there. You know, when you get bucked off by the bull, you just got to get right back on, man. That's the whole key here. So the 5 doing exactly what he needs to do. Now, it's interesting to see how these guys are going to catch up to that secondary pack that we got there, Griesbaum, Olsen, Paget, and Keselowski.
You kind of called it too, Big Al. You said that, you know, those guys should try to, you know, link up with them, and they did exactly that.
Yeah, so, but when we catch up to them, which we will be catching up to them during this pit sequence prior to the green flag pit stops, I think that's just going to make it a little bit more sporty than some people might be anticipating.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, looking at Al Keselowski, he's about 40 seconds back from the leader right now. So, yeah, I mean, and these guys are going to be quickly approaching. I mean, looking at lap times from Al Keselowski, I think it was his last lap of 51.3 or 51.930 versus Mark Sanchez last lap 50.389. So that is, you know, really a big difference in lap times right there. Over a second, I believe.
Yeah, but Keselowski is on a different plan. He's on the platinum plan. His plan is he's going to run back there with those guys, save fuel, try to run as long as he can, not get caught up in the melee of the lead pack, you know, and hope that he could come in and kind of, you know, pick up the scraps. I mean, yeah, it's a noble gesture.
We'll have to see if it works out. I mean, it's definitely interesting strategy. I mean, it could work. I mean, just considering all it takes is half this pack to get knocked down.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand what he's doing.
But he is going to go a lap down eventually, you know, unless a caution comes out, which, I mean, the most probability for a caution is whenever these guys are trying to do their green flag stops. We'll have to wait and see how that all turns out as we're now 64 laps into this event. I do believe now going to be 30 laps to go.
Wondering if John Mullins is going to try to jump up here with Wachinski and Powell, as they are still up there on that high side, trying to test their speed to see what they got. And they're not even attempting the side drive, so they're just out there Lono, Imano.
But well, my thoughts on it is, you know, why would you jump out there when you know you're going to have to pit soon? I mean, I think the bottom is where these guys want to be to kind of get ready for pit stops. I mean, any lap now, we're going to be seeing guys start to trickle down pit road.
We still got a good 4 laps here. That's a long way at Dega. I think you got to see what kind of legs you got. I do believe, though. I think you got to see if you're going to have the speed to make that run. Now, this is the test cake.
No, I mean, I get it. I just think it's just a bad time to be trying to make a move right now when everybody's gearing up. I mean, I know you said 4 laps is a long time at Talladega, but, you know, to try to, I mean, they could be trying to experiment a little bit here. It doesn't seem like the experiment was necessarily very successful.
Well, yeah, because if you're looking at it like a 4 to go scenario, like, do we start to, like, how long do we have to actually go before we can go at the end of this thing? Because if it's 10 laps to go, is that going to be enough? And I think what they found, man, when they got out there with just them 2, they're not going to be able to do it. So they're going to have to definitely try to figure out how they're going to find at least one more dance partner.
Yeah, I think that's what they desperately need right now. They need someone else to jump up there and decide that, hey, I'm going to help out these guys.
Yeah, because if you remember when they were out there doing their thing, it was always, it's been 3 cars up high.
Wow, look at that. Eric Heitman just made the pass on the 31. That was really crazy how he was able to do that. I'm wondering if that was kind of on purpose, because I feel like the 31 might have just let him go to maybe was kind of coming over the radio saying, hey, Derek, I'm really getting light on gas here.
Ooh, the 11 is Don Avery going down pit road now. That's a bold move, Cotton. He's also got the 14 of Sousa with him. Now that leaves just 4 cars out there in that lead pack. But that just changed everything.
Yeah, some different strategies going on right now. I'm wondering if that's going to force the hand here of this top 4.
Oh, most definitely it's going to force their hand. They don't have a choice now. I mean, hey, somebody just drew a line in the sand is what they did. So, I mean, if nothing else gives you an indication of what's happening, I think that does.
Yeah, definitely interesting, too, that Triad and G&G kind of work together on that pit stop. All the rest of these guys still out here. These are the guys that literally have no allegiance is with each other, as it looks like Al Kozlowski, Andrew Griezmann, Paul Olsen all going down pit road also.
Yeah, so these guys here are definitely all in it. Now, surprised that Mark Sanchez is actually able to make it all the way back around. It'll be interesting to see if he doesn't actually flame that thing out before he gets back down pit road.
Yeah, it looks like Don Avery, Greg Wychinski, Kenny Powell, and Jeffrey Souza all came out of pit road together here, so they are still going to be all together here. But it looks like Kenny Powell and Greg Wychinski, a little bit different plans, going to pass up on the top and try to lead these Triad drivers around.
Yeah, right now I think we're going to be 25 laps to go, so all drivers will be good right now until the end of this thing, even if the caution flag were to fly. Is that lead pack going to run one more time there, Brian?
They're going a lot further than I thought they would be able to go. Looking at their run right now, they're 29 laps into this thing, so they've already gone a lap over what our fuel estimations are.
Well, now they definitely got to get themselves organized and actually in order to be able to make their green flag pit stops, and I think that's what they're going to be doing right now.
And we talked about them being a little bit...
Sanchez got right into the back of Derek Heitman right there, so I think they're already stacking up to have trouble.
Yeah, it could very well be the case. I mean, we were talking about all night long about these guys having no allegiances with one another kind of. Well, I'm wondering if that's going to be their downfalls. We see Mark Sanchez down pit road with Matt DeCiani and John Mullins. And look at Derek Heitman. Heitman just scorching those tires. I don't know if he got down to speed, Big Al. That was kind of crazy.
Yeah, you don't need those tires anymore. Or do you?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, because you might not, it might be advantageous to not take tires, but maybe not for him because he just did light them up pretty good. Now, this is going to be something to watch here. Does this other pack catch up and get by this pack? I mean, they're on the back stretch right now. No, they're actually on the front stretch in the tri-oval. Greg Wychinski at the front of this pack. He's got Kenny Powell right there. And I do believe, yeah, they're going to drive right by him. Oh, and Derek Heitman, I do believe, is the recipient of a speeding penalty. That is just unfortunate.
I do believe Derek Heitman was the recipient of that nice big old black flag. Hey, remember, black flags matter.
That they do. You definitely don't want to ignore those. But a very familiar picture we're seeing up here in the front. Kenny Powell pushing Greg Wychinski.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say about Derek, man. He just can't seem to get out of his own way sometimes. You know, it's just he had definitely a solid shot here tonight of possibly putting that thing on the podium, but just unfortunately made an error there under those green flag pit stops. And, you know, Big Al says it all the time, man. You race for dough, but you race for show, but you pit for dough.
You know, and who that really hurts too is Mark Sanchez and Matt DeCiani. Kind of just those two cars going to be driving together. Not a whole lot of help between those versus this 5 cars that are up here. Of course, Paul Olsen kind of helping out the team up here, or helping out this top 4, I should say, considering he is still, I do believe, 10 laps down.
Yeah, but, I mean, he's good to go, so.
Might as well help out, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's gonna definitely make it a little bit more solid for the G&G guys, because that's gonna be their third. You know, so that's gonna put DeCiani, that's gonna put Souza and Avery in an odd spot.
Got a little bit of a battle going on back here between cars that I do not believe are all on the same lap. Of course, Mark Sanchez and Matt DeCiani and John Mullins are all on the same lap here, but you see Derek Heitman kind of pushing Sanchez here. Now, could they get something going? Even though Heitman is not on the lead lap right now, he is pushing that 31 with everything he can. I don't think the 31 is going to be too mad about that.
Well, so as long as those are controlled pushes, I mean, we're not in labor here, so those, pushing at the wrong time could be detrimental, as we saw earlier here, as it did bring out the one and only caution that we've had so far. But that actually happened right there at the end of stage 2, so.
Now, I do believe we now have 20 laps remaining here.
And this is when it's going to get interesting, because like I said, you've got Wachinski and Powell. Behind them, they got Avery and Souza. Behind them, they've got Olsen. Now, it takes 3 of those guys to tango, so if Olsen can get sucked up and then actually get up there with his G&G teammates, I mean, that's all they're going to need to actually to run this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think Paul Olsen's got to hope that when Don Avery and Jeffrey Sousa decide that they're going to go, that he's able to actually suck up to the back of the 24 and help them, 3 versus 2.
Yeah, I don't think
it looks like Olsen's might be struggling a little bit to even stay in the draft, though.
Yeah, I don't think they can go. I think that's the whole key to it. I mean, you're not going to be able to do it with 2. I mean, you're just going to, even if you were to pull outside there, you're just going to hit that proverbial wall of air.
Well, I'll tell you what, where there is no air between the 5 and the 24 here, Kenny Powell literally has glued himself to the back bumper of the 5.
Now, remember, the 5 actually spun out. Now he is back to leading this thing, and he is still with his same dance partner. So, I mean, maybe all is fair in love and war.
I guess forgive and forget, I guess.
Well,
I mean, you can't dwell on it. I mean,
it wasn't intentional. I mean, that's the thing. And Powell, I mean, you could tell in his voice, he was just kind of, but these guys are teammates. So now Powell definitely is back where he needs to be. Wachinski's showing that he still has all of the speed that he needs. The 64, though, of John Mullins down on pit road, not sure what that's about. That surely can't be a scheduled stop.
Yeah, not sure what's going on here with this Lucky Charms Tricks machine sitting on pit road. Doesn't look like any damage on the race car. It's kind of an interesting thing there. I'm curious what's going on.
I think he just disconnected.
Maybe some technical issues. Not sure. Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, Greg Wachinski in that whole accident earlier probably was the luckiest man in that, even though he was the one that kind of got spun. Everybody that kind of, collided after that, they were the ones that really had it the worst, I'd say. I mean, he still's got speed, which is surprising. I mean, to be shot around like a pinball like that, you expect to have a lot of damage, but I think that there's a guardian angel watching over that 5 tonight.
Yeah, I think it was the 24. Powell even said that he kind of shoved him so that we would not come back up into the track. So everything that occurred in that wreck doesn't look like anything kind of really affected the 5. I mean, he is showing tremendous pace here still as he is leading this thing. Oop, there's Powell gets a little bit loose. That's going to cause a little bit of a chain reaction there as the 11 of Avery kind of got into the back of the 24. And now as those guys behind all start to check up, now these guys are going to have to find a way to get themselves reconsolidated, I believe would be the word. Reorganized. Reconstituted.
Oh, Don Avery even going down there onto the apron here. Handling maybe not working as well as it was before. I mean, of course, these guys did not take tires, I would assume. Looking at the pit stops, took 2 tires only. As the 24, Kenny Powell, decides to go up to the top. He does not have any help, though.
I don't think he did that intentionally. I think he got sucked in so fast that he had 2 choices, and one of those was going to be just to get out of line to keep from running his partner over.
And somehow Kenny is staying strong up there. A lot of pace in that 24 car to be able to stay up there, when he's got 3 cars down on the bottom.
The 5 will pick him up. I mean, like I said, Powell washed way up there high. That's going to put him going way back. But look at it. Look at 11 of Avery. He's going to go way high also.
Yeah, Don Avery, I think, made that move a little too quick because he almost lost the control of the vehicle. Somehow keeping it pointed the right direction, though, as he's going to actually take the lead here. Kenny Powell pushes him there. Greg Wachinski looks like he's going to fall back behind Jeffrey Souza. And look who's starting to catch. Because of all this going on up here, that second pack, Mark Sanchez and Matt DeCiani, are starting to catch up here. Well, this thing is not over yet. I mean, we still could see even Mark Sanchez still go to victory lane. I mean, these guys are running some substantial lap times right now. I mean, look at that last lap. Don Avery, 52.089. He is your leader. Mark Sanchez, 50.104. That is 2 seconds faster than this front pack, Big Al. That is pretty crazy there. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see that 31 catch up and join this pack.
And I think they realized that they were running behind the 5 of Wachinski, and that was actually slowing that whole pack down. That might have been one of the reasons why you saw that pack kind of shuffle up a little bit, but a little bit too late. Look at the 3 horsemen as they are now high and wide, and we know how fast that high line is, and these guys actually caught up to this pack, so I definitely don't expect for them to slow down any, but Powell going to hop out high. He's going to try to take the momentum away, but I don't believe that Sanchez is going to fall in behind him.
Yeah, I mean, look at the speed difference here. I don't think there's any chance. Kenny Powell, though, looks like he gave them no choice. But it looks like Mark Sanchez is going to go through the middle on the inside of the 24. Oh, close in there, even rubbed a little bit there.
Yeah, definitely think that Powell now knows where he stands with this crew.
As Mark Sanchez looks like he is going to recapture the lead here.
Yeah, and they're going to stay high. They're going to pull through. And then just like that, I mean, with 14 laps to go, these guys are going to mount quite a charge, and I don't think it's going to slow down here anytime soon.
Yeah, they were able to get all 3 of each other down onto the bottom and clear. Now they're trying to put a gap on that other pack. They are driving away. Can this pack catch back up? Because we're soon, literally the first pack has become the second pack. Oh, yeah, Paul Olson's pushing Kenny Powell and almost pushing him a little off kilter there. Could have caused some problems, but luckily it didn't.
Yep, here comes Avery. Yeah, they're definitely trying to do everything they can not to let these guys run away with this. But, man, look at Sanchez go.
Yeah, he is really quick, and they're coming up on a lap car. Mark Pageant here.
Yeah, poor Mark Pageant, man. He would have been right with these guys in the thick of things had he had not actually got involved in that incident there between the 24 and the 5. As Pageant now goes high, this is going to cause a little bit of a ripple there in the effect. Everybody behind still doing what they got to do, trying to make it work, man. But look at those top 3 go. Now, I'm afraid that the longer this second group battles like they are, it's just going to cause them, to fall further behind unless they do get back in line, which is what they just did.
Yeah, Don Avery has caught up to the back of these top 3, so don't count them out yet. You also see Jeffrey Souza right there. Kenny Powell, I do believe, has not lost the draft yet. But, man, what a run for this 31 of Mark Sanchez. And I say top 3. I should have said top 2, just considering Garrick Heitman is actually 1 lap down because he had an error on pit road. I do believe a speeding penalty under that green flag stop. And, wow, what a big bump from the 76. He is just looks like he is a pushing master right now.
Yeah, but it's going to come a point in time where the 76 is going to have to, DD bow and kind of get out of the way because – it's just my opinion. If you're not on the lead lap here, you kind of shouldn't be able to affect the outcome of the race. Does that make sense?
No, I mean, I get it, but I mean, I don't necessarily think it's his responsibility to get out of the way. I mean, he's got a race EPI car right behind him. He's got race EPI on his race car. I would assume that if anything, he's going to probably maybe try to stop helping Mark Sanchez at some point and help the 1 of Matt DeCiani to maybe give him a chance at the victory. I mean, I don't know if I see anything wrong with, pushing your teammate to a win if you're a lap down. I mean, that's the nature of the game here.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I'm just, trying to play the devil's advocate, saying, "Hey, look, man."
I get what you're saying. Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that's just kind of my view on it. We could have different views.
No, we don't have to have different views. I mean, you could just admit you're wrong.
Yeah, that's never gonna happen. You know that.
Yeah, that was funny though. Man, it's definitely been an awesome race. Even though we had kind of a reduced amount of field, the race was still not short on excitement as we are now under 10 laps to go in this thing before we actually put it in the books, man. And what a charge from the three horsemen, Mark Sanchez, Matt DeCiani, and Don Avery, be in the mix there with Derek Heitman. Actually, it was Derek Heitman, Mark Sanchez, and Matt DeCiani that came out of the grassy knoll, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're the ones that kind of just showed up out of nowhere and passed these guys whenever they were kind of getting themselves situated. Unfortunately, got situated a little too late there. But it looks like Kenny Powell and Greg Wychinski is trying to generate something to get back into this, trying to battle against Jeffrey Souza right now.
Yeah, I don't see Souza actually going to help those guys out. I think he's just going to kind of stay low and bide his time. Ooh, Avery jumps out there a little bit high there and kind of stifles the 24 a little bit. I'm sure that wasn't appreciated.
Yeah, Avery even down on the apron right now. Something definitely wrong with the handling of that 11. I've been seeing that, like, stuff like that. He's just having problems holding a straight line, it seems like sometimes. Goes down on there on the apron. See, Jeffrey Souza has caught up to the back end of him, trying to get something going here.
Hey, Brian, just got a message from the guys down at the flag stand. Oh, yeah,
yes,
apparently your girlfriend's down there. She's drunk and she was dancing like a stripper. So they want you to come and get her.
Okay, well, I'll go get her right now. I don't know why Ray Nish is always acting like that.
Yeah, man. Hey, don't shoot the messenger.
She knows I'm at work. I don't know why they even let her in here. I gave them her picture and everything, and they still let her in here.
Oh, did you give them that one picture with her on the milk carton?
Yeah.
All right, gotcha. Man, Mark Sanchez doing everything that he needs to do right now. Derek Heitman right up in the mix of things with Matt DeCiani behind him. But Don Avery, like you said, he is kind of bobbing and weeping like it looks like he's had more to drink than I have.
Probably had more to drink than Ray Nisha down there at the flag stand. Yeah, he is definitely struggling. But, I mean, I think Jeffrey Souza, he's biting the bullet. I'm going to stick with my teammate here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And look at what it's doing. The 24 and the 5 not able to get what they need going.
But this is kind of, they're all hurting each other in a lot of ways, though, because this is allowing that top three to really, not be challenged at all, it seems like.
What's the over-under on cautions?
Not particularly sure. I think we've only had one caution based on an accident, maybe.
You think we're going to have another one?
I don't believe so. I mean, it's possible, but I mean, we're going to have to wait and see. I mean, things are going to change now. I mean, just consider now we're 5 laps to go, Big Al. It's going to ratchet up that intensity a little bit here.
This is Talladega. I mean, somebody's going to throw a caution if it ain't but me.
Yeah, somebody's going to throw a beer can onto the racetrack.
Yeah, a caution for debris. But I think we got everybody stacked up that we need right here.
Oh, wow. Kenny Powell dives down in front of Jeffrey Souza.
Yeah, now he's going to be bouncing up with the 11 Avery. I wouldn't do that.
Oh, yeah, because Avery is not handling very well right now at all. You saw he drifted up got into the 24 there.
Yeah, that really pushed the 24 back. Now he is back side by side with the 14 of Jeffrey Souza.
Yeah, Avery has got something wrong. Look at that. Powell does it again. Souza's not going to like that.
Now Powell's pushing the 11 of Avery. And he's doing exactly what he's trying to do. He's got to get in that slipstream. He has got to try to get as much momentum as he can. But now the 11 is going to go high. That's going to kind of jab things up a little bit because I don't think Don Avery has the pace that Powell does. So Powell's definitely going to try to get around him. He is biding his time. He is going to try to use that slingshot, if you will. But, man, if he doesn't have at least 2 more cars with him, I think it's going to be for naught.
Yeah, I just feel like Don Avery saw that he didn't have the handling to really be pushed like Kenny Powell was wanting to push, so he just kind of fell to the back here. Now Powell up to that 4th place position. Actually 3rd place, technically, considering I keep forgetting that Derek Heitman is actually a lap down here. And now going to be 3 laps to go. Next time by, going to be 2 laps to go. As Matt DeCiani trying to hold on to that 2nd place position.
Here comes Mark Paget, though. He is going to be right up here in the thick of things, so going to be interesting to see how lap traffic plays into the factor of this.
Yeah, I think Al Kozlowski's right there also. Now, that's actually Al Kozlowski and Andrew Griesbaum right there in front of these guys. So 2 cars. Let's see if they can get by them as they go to the top of the track. Going to split it right down the middle. Al Kozlowski's going to stay on the bottom. Andrew Griesbaum on the top. This is kind of a scary situation right now. Woo.
Yeah, now it's real scary because there's Derek Heitman right up in the midst of things, and he is actually a lap down. That's going to hold up the one of Matt DeCiani. That's going to allow that high line to be coming around here.
Yeah, look at Jeffrey Souza leading the top groove. Can they make something happen? I think they need Greg Wyszynski to get up there with them. You see Matt DeCiani deciding he's maybe thinking about going through the middle or trying to side draft to slow that top line down. Does not seem to be working, though. Oh.
So what do you – yeah, so Heitman really can't do anything, but you got to believe Sanchez has to start making some decisions. Because if he sees Powell start to come up on that high side, he is going to have no choice but to get up there and block that position.
Yeah, it looks like that top line, though, keeps losing momentum here because Jeffrey Souza and Kenny Powell do not seem like they want to work together. But I think they're like having to. But because they're not quite as quick up there, it looks like that's going to help out Greg Wyszynski, who moves up into the, I do believe, position there.
I do believe
Mark. Ooh, this is looking close. White flag is out. This is of course, the last time we go through the front stretch. Mark Sanchez. Jeffrey Souza in the grass. And Sanchez is going to grab the win. Wow. Who would have thought that Mark Sanchez is going to come out here and grab the victory? What a phenomenal race for that 31. He was up front for about the second half of the whole race there. I mean, man, great job. And, of course, Matt DeCiani is going to finish in 2nd place. Don Avery finishes in 3rd. Greg Wyszynski, 4th place. Kenny Powell, 5th. Jeffrey Souza, after a spin through the grass, finishes 6th. Derek Heitman in 7th. 8th place, Al Kozlowski. 9th place, I do believe, is Andrew Griesbaum. And 10th place, Mark Paget.
And that's going to put Paul Osen by he lonesome there in 11th with John Mullins, who disconnected earlier in 12th, and Randy Drumhiller rounds out this 13-car field.
Yeah, definitely interesting turn of events here. Can't wait to talk to Mark Sanchez. But with that, let's take a step away here. We'll be right back. We'll pay some attention to our sponsors, and we'll be back with the post-race show. All righty, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are joined in the booth by our third place finisher, Don Avery. Man, you look like you even might have had the speed to even grab the victory here tonight. Great run all night long. Looked like towards the end there, though, the car started misbehaving a little bit with your handling. How are you feeling out there tonight?
Not too bad. Yeah, I think we had some speed there. We were just kind of playing with Kenny and those guys there at the end, trying to figure out what we were going to do to try to make a run at the checker. So, but it didn't feel too bad. If you make a quick maneuver, to the left off the corners and stuff, you get pretty free. So.
Yeah, we kind of saw that. We saw you were having some problems. You kind of went down there onto the apron, but we were able to keep it kind of together and fell to the rear and then kind of got the run back up. Working with Jeffrey Souza all race long. It seems like you guys had a pretty good chemistry going on out there. So how did y'all prepare coming into this race?
There wasn't much preparation. We did a little bit of practice in the pre-race, and then we just talked about strategy through the whole race, trying to figure out what we were going to do. We knew we were on similar setups, so there wasn't much we could do there. But yeah, I kept moving down to the apron on the backstretch, trying to get away from Kenny's side draft. So that's why I was down there.
Okay, I was wondering what was going on there. We kept seeing you dip down there. I was like, something must be wrong with Don's car. I don't know what's going on. But so that was just to try to kind of get away from Kenny there. I got you completely, man. Well, definitely an interesting trip to Talladega here. I mean, did you expect to grab third? I mean, I know you can't really expect anything here at Talladega.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Yeah, like you said, I told Big Al last week he wanted a prediction. I said, "You got any dice?" You just roll the dice. I just had a run there at the end. It got me through. Missed some other guys. So it was just kind of luck. Just you try to take care of the car the whole race, and then try to be there for the end. So.
Well, you were able to do exactly that. Grab yourself a third place finish, man. Great job to you for sure. Able to keep it clean all race long. While other guys had some significant problems, you were able to navigate pit road very well for sure, man. I do believe next week, if I'm not mistaken, Charlotte Roval going to be on the docket. I mean, that's going to be quite the show there at the road course. I mean, big difference from Talladega going there.
Yeah, can we swap that out for Daytona road course? I'm not a big fan.
I'm not the boss man. You got to talk to somebody else about that.
I'm not a big fan of the road, but I'll get some practice in there. Try to get as good as I can. So we'll see what happens there. Big shout out to Mark there for that too, by the way.
All right. Well, I heard you shout out Mark there. Who else can we shout out for you tonight after your third place finish?
Triad Racing. The guys over there, put in a lot of work and we have a lot of fun. Sousa Media, stintanalyzer.com. Kenny, as always, he puts all this together. And you guys up in the booth. And my wife, she was watching. So, hey, Sherry.
Hey, Sherry.
All right, man.
Thanks,
we
Al.
appreciate you. We appreciate you, Don. Great job this evening. Can't wait to see what you do next week. And congratulations on your third place finish once again.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
All righty. That was Don Avery, our third place finisher. Next up, Big Al's going to have Matt DeCiani, our second place.
Hey, Matt DeCiani. This is Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Man, what a run that you guys put on there at the end. I saw the three horsemen coming around, galloping on the outside, man. So talk me through it. What was the process with that?
Yeah, I mean, we just knew coming, even with the smaller, I guess, field size, just survive it. Really, it didn't matter till stage 3. And plus, we really just working with Mark here because he needed to win badly for the playoffs, and I'm pretty comfortable on points, so we kind of just had a plan going in, and yeah, it actually worked out pretty well. Derek sped on pit road, but we linked back up, and it almost felt like a 1-2-3, even though it didn't show it. It felt like it was.
Yeah, it looked like it, man. It looked like you guys were having fun down there. And when you started that charge, it was just like there was really no stopping you. So at which point did you guys kind of start to feel like, man, I think we're going to be able to pull this off here and get the win for Mark?
I mean, honestly, it's Dega, and anyone can win. It really, as long as you have, 4 fenders and 4 tires in the car, you could really win it. So it was just, once we once that wreck happened, we're like, all right, if we can get control of the race, we feel like we could probably do it. And we did a good job. We came out of the pits, I don't know, 6-7 seconds back, and we just did a great job. Derek did a great job pushing, and it worked out, and we ran him down, and yeah, it was actually fun.
Yeah, that I don't know if you would call that pushing. I mean, that was a lot more like shoving there. It almost wanted to enter you guys into an abusive relationship counseling or something, as he was really getting it done, But it didn't cause any problems with anybody else, and actually got the job done for your team there, man. So you got to be feeling pretty good about that, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. So it's definitely a good team win for sure.
So now with the playoffs being in full swing here next week, we're headed to the Charlotte Roval. I mean, how are you feeling about your chances there?
Definitely confident. Love road racing. Roval's a fun track. Yeah, I'm pretty confident going into next week. We'll see what happens. Up strategy, stages and stuff can change it, but I'll be pretty confident for next week.
Yeah, so do you like this next gen car better on the road courses than you did the Gen 6 car, or are you impartial?
I'm impartial. It's road racing's road racing. It definitely drives better, but same characteristics with any other car you drive on a road course. It's just got to adapt to it, and it's more track than anything.
Yeah, so the amount of preparation, say, going into a Talladega versus a Roval, what's going to be the comparison between the two?
Talladega, I did practically no preparation at all. Maybe like a couple A opens that I got wrecked out of. So I don't know. I probably ran less than 100 laps to prepare for this. But Roval, yeah, I'll run a lot to prepare for the Roval.
Well, man, can't wait to see what you got in store for us next week. Congratulations on a very strong performance. Love watching you guys drive through the field like that. Before we let you go, who you shouting out tonight, Mr. DeCiani?
Yeah, obviously, congrats, Mark, to the win. Shout out to Derek for working with us all race, and got a shout out to EPI. Built a great setup. We worked well together all night. It's always good to see that. And then thanks to you guys, Big Al and Brian, for calling the race, and Kenny for putting on the league.
Man, thank you. You guys make it really easy to call. Congrats again, man. Can't wait to see you do it again. Hopefully, we'll get to talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Alrighty, that was Matt DeCiani, our second place finisher. Next up is going to be our winner, Mark Sanchez. And since I stole an interview tonight from Big Al, you could take our winner.
Mark Sanchez, Big Al up in the booth. How does it feel, sir, to get yourself a victory here in the playoffs in the end of this season?
I mean, really, really great. This was probably my only chance because road courses, I can't get around them things. And this really wasn't my win. This was Matt and Derek. They're the ones who pushed me to this win. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have been up here.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but you still had to drive that thing, though. I believe Matt said if it's got 4 tires, and well, what I said was, I told Brian, I said, if it's got 4 tires and drives, man, you'll get it done. You definitely got it done. You were out front early on. Then looks like when the pits kind of started, you guys faded, but we saw you charging from the rear, man. So at which point did you start to think to yourself, like, man, I think we got the pace and the speed, and we're going to be able to actually catch up and pass these guys?
As soon as we started catching them after the last pit stop, I realized how fast we're catching them, and just the 3 of us working together like that, I knew we would be able to get past them. Kenny almost put a pretty good block on, but I was able to get by him. But once we got past Kenny there, with Matt and Derek behind me, there wasn't nobody stopping us.
Yeah, Derek Heitman was definitely shoving you. Like I told Matt, looked like you guys were in an abusive relationship. It was far more than pushing, but it was definitely there to get it done, man. So I know you want to definitely thank him for getting you down there on victory lane tonight, right?
Oh, definitely. Both my teammates. Matt too. My computer was pretty messed up right before the race, and he helped me get it going. I probably only had about 5 minutes of practice right before we started the qualifying there.
Well, this win is definitely going to change your outlook as well as your position here in the playoffs, man. So complete congratulations for that. Next week, we're going into the Roval. Completely different situation there. What can we expect to see from you?
Yeah, I'm not very good at Rovals, but I'm going to start practicing tomorrow. Since I got the win, it really doesn't matter where I finish right now. But at least uncomfortable for this next race.
Yeah, definitely got to feel good to get that monkey off of your back, right?
Oh yeah, it's been a long time trying to win a race in this league. It's a very competitive race, competitive league, and all the racers here are great. It would have been nice to have a bigger turnout tonight, but it is what it is. We'll move on.
Well, you still finished first, so what are you going to be doing to celebrate your victory here tonight?
Work on my computer, get it fixed for next week.
Well, Roger, that has. So before we let you go, who you shouting out for us tonight there, boss?
Both you guys, Kenny putting it on, and of course Derek and Matt.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and congratulations here for your win here tonight at Talladega. Hopefully, you'll be able to conjure up some similar luck next week at the Roval, man, and we'll see you up here at the booth again. But if not, man, congratulations again, and we'll holler at you soon.
Thank you guys.
All righty, that was our winner, Mark Sanchez. Excellent win for him today. Led, I do believe, 38 laps of the night, which is, I do believe, more than anybody else out there. But also want to give a shout out to Randy Drumhiller. He qualified on the pole here this evening, had a fast ride. Just wanted to take a moment to shout out him. But man, Talladega, glad to be able to wrap this one up. I mean, this place will chew you up and spit you out, wouldn't you say, Big Al?
Yeah, it definitely will do that, man. And I just want to give a shout to you, Brian, man. Excellent race here. Great calling it with you. Want to give also a shout out to our title sponsor, TLC, Technology Logistics Consulting Incorporated, here coming on board. Thanks again for Kenny Powell for making all this happen, man. And congrats again to the winner. I mean, Mark Sanchez, much deserved.
Yeah, also a quick shout out to Asus, Republic of Gamers there. They definitely... I was told it was Asus.
it is. It is Asus.
Man, I don't know. I might have to watch some YouTube videos of some people pronouncing it just to get it right. But man, what a race here at Talladega. We're going to be doing it all again on Saturday, and I'm sure it's going to be just as exciting. That is for sure. But if you want to continue to follow this series here, make sure you tune in next Thursday around 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when the stream will most probably start. Of course, the race itself starts a little after 9:30, but that will be on Thursday. We'll be visiting the Charlotte Roval, and if you want to see some more Talladega racing, watch it on Saturday around the same time, as we'll see a whole bunch of different faces out there going after another championship. So can't wait to see that for sure. And my name is Brian Britt. It has been a pleasure calling the race here tonight, and also big shout out to Big Al for all the help and everything. And we'll catch you next time, ladies and gentlemen.